there. It's time for another Real Numbers Family Budget Update. I'm Stephanie, and this is my husband, Mike. We blog at sixfiguresunder.com, and we do this every month. And in just a second, we'll jump into our real YNAB screen, and we'll show you our actual budget. But we had some interesting big financial moves we made in December, so we want to talk about those for a second first. We refinanced our house again. We bought the house 4 years ago, and this is the third time that we've refinanced. It sounds kind of crazy, but each time the numbers made sense, so we just went for it. We used owning.com again, since their rates were about as low as anyone's, and they offered to pay the closing costs themselves again, which is really cool. Our last refi went really smoothly, and this time was about the same. It was 11 days between the first phone call and the final signing, which was nice and fast. It took Mike just over 2 hours to get the loan approved and about another hour for each of us at the signing. The total transaction costs were $45, and we rolled our 15-year mortgage from 2.875% to 2.375% interest. The result is that our 4 hours of work saves us about $3,500 in interest if we pay the house off in 5 years. If we decided to pay more casually over the 13 years remaining on the old mortgage, the savings would be just under $10,000. We can't make $875 an hour doing anything else, so it absolutely made sense. If you're paying 3% or 4% interest on your mortgage, you should really look at whether it makes sense to refinance the loan. There are very few things that have that sort of hourly return on your time.
So that was one big thing. The second big item for the month was that in December we made an extra $16,000 of charitable deductions. And that may sound crazy, but it's a tax minimizing thing, and since we have kind of a crazy tax code, sometimes the ways we deal with it are a little unusual, but this is how it works. So our major itemizable deduction each tax year is charitable giving, and a large portion of that is a 10% tithe on our income. If we take nearly all of the donations that we would normally be for 2021 and instead make them at the end of 2020, we're effectively bundling 2 years worth of giving into a single tax year. And that means that in 2020 we have a larger itemized deduction and thus a smaller tax bill. In 2021 we have very few itemizable deductions, and so we'll take the standard deduction instead and do that in alternating years. Maybe in 2022 we'll pay double again. But the effective result is that we pay for 2020 and 2021 about $3,000 less in taxes over those 2 years, just by changing the timing, not actually the amount of our donations. And so that's what we did. For a longer walkthrough, you can actually check out an article on the blog where we first discussed the idea. That'll be in the description below.
Okay, one more big thing that I wanted to mention before we jump on the computer and show you our budget and our YNAB screen. We just opened our new live grocery budgeting course. It's called Grocery Budget Hero, and it's a 4-week course to help you lower your grocery spending, no matter what your family size or food preferences. I'll go step by step through the strategies I use to keep our family fed with nutritious food on a low grocery budget. I know that it can help you too. And right now, you'll get an incredible deal. A 4-week live course with personal attention for just $39. You'll easily save that much, like many times that much, each month after taking the course. There's a money-back guarantee too, so you can't go wrong. Okay, I'll leave the link below so you can check out Grocery Budget Hero and take advantage of this great deal so you can get your grocery budget in check and put that money toward goals that are more important to you.
Now we're going to jump into the numbers. We'll see you in just a minute in YNAB.
Okay, here we are in our YNAB budget. That's YNAB. You need a budget. We budget on last month's income. So all the spending that I'm going to show you right now is money that we earned in November and just held on to until December 1st when we budgeted out all that money. This is a method of budgeting that I love. I will put a link to a video in the description that explains how to get to that point and a little bit more about what it means to live on last month's income. I totally recommend it for anyone. Okay, back to the budget. So tithing, we pay a 10% tithe on the money we earned in November. So that's this right here. And the fast offering is a donation we make through our church to help the poor in our area. We fast, go without food and water 1 day a month. Our whole family does, and then we give a donation of money.
All right, moving on to the monthly bills. These are not really that exciting because they're about the same all the time, but our mortgage is $28.36.97. We paid that. It was. Yeah. After the refi, it will be different. Although we'll still pay at least that much each month because we want to get it done fast. So in car insurance, we actually got a refund, as it were, of our car insurance premiums. Every year, USAA, which is our car insurance company, sends a dividend out to customers of the amount that they didn't pay out in costs, basically. They keep a buffer, of course, but they send something back out if they took in more in premiums than they actually spent in claims. And so this time the dividend that they sent out was larger than our premium for December. So we got $29 back that we could put into the budget. That's unusual, but kind of cool. Electricity, we spent $208. Everything in the house is electricity. There's no gas, and that includes the apartment above the garage as well. It's on the same meter. Internet, $70. We're just excited to have good internet at home, especially as we've been working and schooling from home. It's so nice. We put aside $125 for water. We're not sure exactly what our bill will be. It's probably not going to be this high, but we pay every other month, so we're not sure. We'll see when we get our bill next month what it looks like. For trash, we put aside again $40 every month and then pay it every other month. Our cell phone bill is $50 for our 2 cell phones. That's 2 phones with Visible, which is a Verizon subsidiary on the Verizon 4G LTE network. And we have all the data we want, and we can actually get cell service at home, and it's $25 a phone for unlimited, which is great. We have a monthly piano teacher bill because one of our kids is taking piano from somebody who is not mom, and it's going really well. She's awesome. And we also have an orthodontist bill of $61 a month for about another year until the braces come off for one of the kids. Finally, the disability insurance is $151 a month. That covers about 70% of my income if something should happen to me and I can't work as a lawyer. It makes sure that we have income. This is actually until age 65. So hopefully we don't need it, but in the meantime, we like the assurance of having it there.
Okay, the everyday expenses. These ones are more interesting because they change month to month. Our food budget is the first one. We aim for around $500, and this month we came in at $529. Since it was the end of the year, I also went through YNAB and made some reports, some graphs of our spending throughout the year. I do this every year because I'm curious to see how everything averages out. And we spent more in food this year than we ever have before. But still, our average was under $500 a month. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you know that when COVID first happened, we did our quarantine food storage challenge where we didn't go to the store for a couple months. But then after that, we had some big grocery hauls where we
restocked everything.
Yeah. And those were the biggest grocery bills we've ever had. But it still averages out to under $500, so it's all good. Household miscellaneous. This budget category,
not usually this large.
It's kind of a wild card, but this time we spent $250 getting our girls a new bunk bed. It's a full bed on the bottom and a twin on the top, and it's wood. It's nice, sturdy. We got it used on Facebook Marketplace. It would have been a lot more if we had bought it new. But it's a nice quality bed. And of course, there are all the other household normal miscellaneous things. But that bed doubled what our budget usually is. We kind of called it a Christmas present too. Fuel, gas for our car, $134 this month. Clothing, we spent just over $50. I went to Old Navy and got pants for Mike and some other things for the kids. Animals, we bought 2 bags of chicken feed and a bag of dog food, I think. Let's see, allowances, $70. This is money that we give our kids. They're, of course, expected to do chores at home and all of that, but that's separate from allowance for us. We give the allowance as money that the kids can practice with, that they can learn how to budget and spend.
Christmas time is one of the times where this really comes into play because they have some money of their own to go buy Christmas presents with, and they have to decide how much do I want to spend on one sibling, how much is left for another one. Do I actually want to spend all my money, or do I want to save it up for something different? And so it's fun to see them make small financial decisions now, so that hopefully they'll have learned some things about how to use money when there are bigger decisions to be made.
And they're really getting excited learning about investing, and they'll look at interest that they earn on their savings account and realize that I'm never going to make very much money just
It's really hard with 0.2% interest.
But anyway, it's fun to see them learn about money. Homeschool, we homeschool through a homeschool charter here in California. And so we get a spending allowance from the school for use on curriculum and extracurricular activities and all of that. But these were some things that weren't covered in that. There's some curriculum that you can't buy with state funds. And so that was what this was.
All right, we're at the sinking fund section of the budget. This is where we put some money aside every month because we expect that we'll have to spend it sometime. And we don't want to have an expense pop up and have nothing set aside for it. That's no fun at all. So we put $400 a month into the medical dental category. And this month we put 400 in and took 145 out. That was some dental expenses. Generally, for car repair, we'll put in $300, but we honestly haven't needed to repair the car. We've got almost $4,000 in there, and we just don't drive it much. So we've stopped putting any in there for now. We do put $100 for Christmas every month, and we took out a lot of that. We took out $725, which left us $21 in our Christmas budget for 2020. We'll just roll that into 2021 and be extravagant next year.
I actually went and bought some wrapping paper and some other clearance stuff, so don't worry, I took...
It's post-Christmas Christmas budget. I see. Life insurance, we put $75 a month out, and that covers our premiums when they come due in November every year. We put $40 generally for birthdays and gifts and other things like that, but we didn't this month because we have some money in there and we didn't really need to add to it. The same for car registration and smog. Most months we put $40 in, but we have enough there. We only have one car registered right now, so it doesn't take as much to cover that as it used to. We didn't put any money in the family fund, we just had fun anyway. The car fund, you'll notice that we actually took out a bunch of money. It used to have about $5,000 in it. That's to get a new commuter for me, but I don't have a commute anymore, and I'm not sure when I will. And so we decided we would redirect those funds. We actually used this to help fund our prepayment of charitable donations, so our 2021 donations. 5,000 of that almost came from the car fund. And then we used other savings for the rest of those. Home projects, we put $300 in. We took almost $600 out. That included some updates that we've kind of been waiting on. We decided this was as good a time as any to do them, so we put some fans up and some new lighting, ceiling fans and new lighting in a couple of the rooms. We put in some new hardware in the bathroom, some other things like that. We didn't put anything into the garden budget, but we will be putting some in next month. And as far as preparedness goes, we put in $100 and didn't take any out.
Okay, investing, we just have a little bit here. The kids' 529s, well, the five older of the kids, we don't have one for the littlest yet. Just $25 a month is not very much, but it's something, and it's adding up. And
the kids love to see the balance on this because they can go in and look and say, I have $2,400 for college already. They don't realize that $2,400 isn't going to get them super far, but it's more money than they've ever seen before. So they're excited about it, and they see how it grows there.
Yeah. So my Roth IRA, we put $500 towards that. That gets us at the full
$6,000 allowable contribution each year.
Okay, we spend $90 a month on our tax guy. Okay, we're not really worrying about self-employment tax savings this year.
Basically, my withholdings cover all of the self-employment taxes for now. If Stephanie or I suddenly start making a whole bunch of money in self-employment, then we'll have to make withholdings there, but not for now.
Okay, prepaid tithing. This is where we're going to be keeping track of the prepaid tithing, where every month we figure out how much tithing we owe on the month before, and then we're going to subtract it out of this category. Okay, our mortgage extra category. So, well, in November, we knew that we were going to be refinancing the house in December. And so we didn't pay extra toward the mortgage last month. We just held on to that money and just kept it here in this category. And then at the beginning of December, when we budgeted, we had this $1,100 that we were going to put extra toward the mortgage, but we just held on to that too. And then it was about $1,800 that we needed for cash to close.
Which is prepaid interest and re-upping the escrow account and things like that.
So we used the mortgage extra from November and December to pay that at closing, and then that left us with about $1,000 left that we will put toward the mortgage. But right now we're waiting for that all to get set up. In January we won't have a mortgage payment due because they're still setting up, all that. And so as soon as we get the login so we can actually start paying on the mortgage, then we will put this straight toward that principal.
All right, and that's pretty much what we spent money on. In December, if we go right to the top, we see income. So all the expenses were from the income that we brought in November. Now, we're in January now, so we're going to start spending, or have started spending, the income that we earned in December. And that total was $14,000 and change. It's more than usual because it includes, right at the very end of the month, the COVID stimulus payment. With 8 of us in the house at $600 per person, that was $4,800 of stimulus. Plus we have my income as an attorney, Stephanie's income, and then our rental, which is $1,000 a month. So altogether that makes $14,000, which we'll start spending for January.
Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We're happy to answer them. Have a good one.